Alright, so in this video, we're going to continue looking on hobbies or what you do in your free time. Now, in the last lesson, you were introduced to the 3 types of verbs in Spanish. You were introduced to Ir verbs. Those were the ones that end with an AR. Ir verbs, those are the ones that end with an ER, and there were also Ir verbs, and those are the ones which end with an IR. Now, we were also talking about ourselves, so we used yo, and yo means I. You were also introduced to the question. The question is, ¿Qué haces en tu tiempo libre? Meaning, what do you do in your free time? And the response, en mi tiempo libre, yo, meaning in my free time, I, and then the verb would go on the line. But before putting the verb on the line, we had 2 steps that we had to follow. Alright, so step 1, we had to remove the ending. So you had to take off the AR, take off the ER or the IR, and then you had to add an O. So we formed sentences such as this one right here. En mi tiempo libre, yo bailo. In my free time, I dance. Now, how did we get bailo? So after we removed the AR from bailar, we then added an O. So we have bailar, we removed the AR, we added an O. So that's how we ended up with bailo. Now, there are other examples that I did, and you can see the previous video for more examples on that. So that was when we were talking about ourselves. Remember, you remove the endings and then you would add an O. We are now going to focus on using you. Alright, so the word you in Spanish is tú. That is TU with an accent over the U. Alright, so we're going to learn how to say you sing in your spare time, you dance in your free time, or we're going to learn how to ask the question, do you dance in your free time, do you sing in your free time? Alright, but please ensure that you place the accent over the U. That's this right here, the accent. Without the accent, it would look like this. So TU with the accent, that is you. TU without the accent, that is your. So we have two and two. Alright, so the accent is very important. So as I said before, we use it to make questions, alright? So we could ask persons, do you sing in your free time? Do you dance in your free time? So the question would be, tú dash en tu tiempo libre? Meaning, do you, whatever the verb is, in your free time. So the verb would go on the line. We can also use it to make sentences. So we can state to somebody, you dance in your free time. So we could say, tú dash en tu tiempo libre. Again, the verb would go on the line. But what do we do with the verbs that go on the line? Do we just put them on the line like that? No, something has to be done. When we're using tú, which as I mentioned earlier means you, we have to do something to the verb. We have some simple steps to follow for each type of verb, so we're going to begin with the AR verbs. Remember, AR verbs are those that end with an AR. So step 1, you're going to take off the AR. So you're going to remove the AR. Step 2, you're going to add an AS. So take off the AR and then you're going to put an AS. Let's look on an example. For example, we have the verb cocinar, which means to cook. So we want to find out from somebody, do you cook in your free time? Or we can say to somebody, you cook in your free time. So we have the question here, tú dash en tu tiempo libre, or we could say, tú dash en tu tiempo libre. So we could ask the question, do you cook in your free time? Or we could state, you cook in your free time. So the verb would go on the line. So step 1 says that we should remove the ending. In this case, cocinar is an AR verb because it ends with an AR. so we would take off the AR. When we remove the AR, we are left with cocin, C-O-C-I-N. So that's step 1. Step 2 says that we should add an AS. So when we remove the AR, we are left with cocin. We add an AS, so we get cocinas. So the question would then read, ¿Tú cocinas en tu tiempo libre? Meaning, do you cook in your free time? Or you could make a sentence. You could say, Tú cocinas en tu tiempo libre. You cook in your free time. So let's look on what we did. So we have the verb cocinar, right? What we did, we removed the ending. So we took off the AR and we were left with cocin. Then we added an AS, so we ended up with cocinas. Now for the ER ending verbs, those are the verbs that end with ER. We have 2 steps to follow as well. We're going to firstly remove the ER and then we're going to add an ES. So we're going to take off the ER, then we're going to add ES. So let's do an example. We have comer, which means to eat. Alright, so we want to ask somebody, do you eat in your free time? Or we can tell somebody, you eat in your free time. So again, the verb would go on the line right here. So let's look to see how we're going to conjugate comer to put it on the line right here. Alright? So step 1 says we're to remove the ending. In this case, we're removing the ER because comer is an ER verb. So after we remove the ER, we are left with COM. Step 2 says we should add an ES. So we take off the ER, we're left with COM. When we add an ES, we get comes. So the question would read, ¿Tú comes en tu tiempo libre? Meaning, do you eat in your free time? Or if you're making a statement or a sentence, you would say, Tú comes en tu tiempo libre, meaning you eat in your free time. So let's look at what we did again. So we have the verb comer, an ER verb. So step 1, we removed the ending. So we took off the ER, then we were left with com. We added ES. When we added the ES, we got comes. Alright, now for the IR ending verbs. These are the verbs that we said end with an IR. So step 1, we're going to remove the IR. Step 2, we're going to add an ES. Now, you might have noticed or realized that the IR verbs, they undergo the same change as the ER verbs. They both, for both of them, you remove their endings and then you add an ES for when you're using to. So you can say that the IR verb likes to follow everything that the ER verb does, right? So for both of them, you remove their endings and you would add an ES. So let's do an example with an IR verb. We have escribir. Now this means to write. So you want to find out from somebody, do you write in your free time? Or you want to say you write in your free time. Alright? So remember, the conjugated verb would go on the line. So let's look now. So we have escribir. Step 1, remove the ending. So we're taking off the IR. We end up with escrib. Let's go to step 2. Step 2 says we should add an ES. So after we took off the IR, we're left with escrib. And then when we add the ES, we get escribes. So the question would be, ¿Tú escribes en tu tiempo libre? Meaning, do you write in your free time? Or you could make a sentence, Tú escribes en tu tiempo libre, meaning you write in your free time. So let's look on what we did. So we had the verb escribir. We removed the ending, took off the IR, we're left with escrib. And then we added an ES. When we added the ES, we ended up with escribes. Just remember this. Whenever you want to find out from somebody, do you dance in your free time? Do you sing in your free time? Whatever it is, or if you want to simply state to the person, you dance in your free time, you sing in your free time, then you know that we use tu, which means you. Alright? So, Remember, for the AR verbs, you remove the AR and you would add an AS. For the ER ending verbs, you would remove the ER and you would add an ES. And for the IR verbs, you would remove the IR and add an ES. Remember I said the ER and the IR verbs, they both undergo the same change. Alright? So basically, this is it.